So yep, we're on the road again. Just arrived at San Francisco airport, settled into the lounge. We're flying China Eastern Airline again today. I'm kind of taking you along. I think a couple years ago I did a vlog on my experience with business class in China Airlines, and today we're doing it again. Let's see in 2026 what it looks like. Anything changes? Is it still worth it? Last time I had a really good experience. So just got back to the China Airline Lounge, which is shared with China Eastern as well as the Vietnam Airline. This morning prior to this, I actually went to the Golden Gate Lounge just to check it out. I was like, you know what, since there is another option for priority pass holders, there's a Golden Gate Lounge just across the hallway. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go over there and check that out. And that place was super busy. It's a slightly bigger lounge, and I think the food options seem to be a little bit more. I didn't stay very long because it was really, really crowded. I think that one, they have reserved seating areas for business class passengers for Aeromexico, as well as one other airline, I can't remember. I'll put that on the screen here. So after about 10 minutes, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna come back to China Airline Lounge. It's much more chill here. Plenty of seating. My departure time is around noon, and like I mentioned last time, the one thing you have to pay attention to at the China Airline Lounge is that they don't have the electronic billboards that show the departure time and everything else. So you really do have to pay attention to your boarding pass and your boarding time. So I guess while we're at it, why don't we check out the food options here? I think this one tends to be more Asian forward. So oh, you know what? There's actually nothing here. I think they're in transition between breakfast and lunch. So there it is. There's that sign. Breakfast starts at 8:30, lunch starts at 10. So we got about 20 minutes or so. But if you're really hungry, you can still grab some sandwiches. They got some potato salads and croissants and cheese. And they also have a coffee station. And of course they have, I just love the fact they have the cutest little ginger ale bottle cans ever. And then they have orange juice and milk. So anyway, Coke Zero. At the other lounge, they only had Diet Coke, so I do enjoy that. And they do have assortment of tea. And then I think there's like a noodle bar. Last time they only had cold noodles, so hopefully this time they'll have hot noodles. And of course, they're very much self-served. You can drink to your heart's content. It's still a little bit early in the day, so I don't think I'm gonna partake in that. But you have your, I don't know, like just rail stuff if you want to partake in that. And then they also have some beer and other beverages as well. So that's your sort of food or drinks option. But a little bit later, hopefully we can, when the lunch is ready, we can show you that. And they also have a lunch bucket. Okay, we're gonna head back to our seat and wait for lunch to start. All right, got my cappuccino. Hopefully it'll wake me up a little bit. I think the flight time is 13 hours, so it's gonna be a bit of a journey here. But yeah, so I went to the Golden Gate Lounge, and then they also have one of those caffeine machines or whatever you can make cappuccinos and mochas. And I chose the wrong one. I went with the mocha, and I took the sip. I was like, oh, this is way too sweet. So anyways, but yeah, so that was my little lounge fail there over on the other side. But this time was different. It probably was there last time when I came. I just didn't know. But they do have pre-check and pre-check clear as well as regular clear on the other side as you're going through security for Gate A. And that's where China Eastern flies out of Terminal A, International Terminal A here in San Francisco. But apparently my pre-check number was not attached to my boarding pass. So make sure that you have your known traveler number attached to your boarding pass, because they couldn't find me. So they're like, you can just go on the other side to the regular clear line, which is fine. It wasn't that bad at all. Okay, I think lunch is officially ready, so let's go check out the lunch spread. I did have some of the dry noodles from the noodle bar. It's pretty basic, but the noodle textures was okay. And the one thing about China Eastern Airline is, if memory serves me correctly, you will not go hungry. They feed you like crazy up there. So I'm not like desperate to eat a ton of food. But I don't know, like when I'm traveling, I just get so hungry for whatever reason. So let's go check out the buffet. And yeah, so like I mentioned, the food here is very Asian forward. So they have porridge and little pickles and vegetables. And this is like the pork song. It's basically shredded pork. It's very, very interesting. And I think that is like gluten and peanuts. So if you have peanut allergies, don't touch that. And they have scrambled eggs and fried rice on this side. I think they also have mapo tofu in the middle. So yeah, I mean the tomato egg is a very classic Chinese stir-fry dish. So
Yeah.
anywho, okay, so nothing else is changing. They now have the lunch. So anyway, that is your lunch spread. Again, I'm not super hungry, so I think I'm just gonna forego the lunch over here. I did have my little bit of my little noodle dish, but I'm gonna go and see you on the plane in a couple hours. I think we're boarding at 11:20, so that's an hour away. Again, there's no announcements here, so pay attention to your boarding time. Because if you fall asleep, set in the alarm. That's my public service announcement for today. Well, the lounge is getting really, really busy all of a sudden, so you know what? I'm pretty much done over there. I wasn't planning on eating anything or drink anything, so you know what? I decided to just kind of vacate my seat and just hang out by the gate. I think it's probably the best. As with last time, Mike and I rarely come to the international terminal, so I think the last time we were here probably might have been Japan actually, and I think we flew out of Hawaiian Airlines, so they fly out of the domestic terminal. So yeah, truly, the last time we were here was probably back in 2024 when we flew out. San Francisco Airport is a little bit more interesting in the sense that their boarding gates are on the ground floor, so we're actually on the second floor right now. Yeah, last time Meg and I just hung out at the lounge, but it was really hot in there, so I was just like, you know what, at least the gate is much more air conditioned, so it's starting to like sweat like crazy. So it's best that we just be safe and get to our gate as early, a little bit earlier, so we don't miss our flight. We definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, they don't really make any sort of announcements. They don't have any sort of electronic display, so you're pretty much on your own in terms of making sure that you don't miss your plane. This side we have the British Airways Lounge as well as the Emiratis Lounge and a few restaurants and whatnot. But like I said, I'm really not that hungry, so we're just gonna wait until we board and then have our fill of food, and they absolutely will feed you for sure. We are now at our gate, and this is A6 is where we are. Let's see if we can see our plane from here. I think I caught a glimpse of it just while we were walking over here. Yeah, departs at noon. Things are looking pretty on time, and I feel like that might be our plane. Let's see, I think it's getting all the luggages loaded up, and there she is. There is our plane, B7367 MU590 going to Shanghai. Same plane, I think, as the one that I flew last time, but let's find out in 2 years if anything has changed. Oh, try not to fall down during the escalator right down here. But yeah, boarding gate is actually on the ground floor, which is really interesting. And if memory serves me correctly, last time the boarding took no time whatsoever. They start boarding around 40 minutes ahead of the wheels up, but they are efficient for sure. All right, we're gonna go find ourselves a place to sit down and chill until we have to board our plane. We are all settled in. Trust me, this is just water, it's not vodka. But same seats as last time. It's really, really comfortable and extremely spacious. I'm really short, I'm only 5'2", but my goodness, there's plenty of leg room. But flight crew is extremely efficient. They were helping with getting our luggages up on the carpet compartments. They don't do that now in domestic airlines. Oh, thank you so much. And the flight attendant just passed me a pre-flight towel, the hot towel. Always appreciate it. It just feels so refreshing. But yeah, they're passing out pre-flight drinks. I think you have a choice of spring water or orange juice, and then they also got the hot towel. So why don't we try out the drinks menu first? So they have an assortment of non-alcoholic beverages. They have tea, they have all sorts of juices, pineapple juice, interesting. And then on this side, we also have assortment of red wine. They have the Great Wall red wine, which is, I think it's a Chinese wine. It's only available in first class, never mind. And then they also have a Malbec that is also first class. And a bunch of the other wine that's available here in business class, I think they have a Shiraz Cabernet from Australia and a Russian wine. Interesting. Never heard of that. Lots of fun. So Shiraz, Cabernet, that's kind of your standard choices. As far as white wine goes, we have Sauvignon Blanc. Okay. I'm good with that. Lots of Australian wine for some reason. And they also have a champagne. Okay. They also offer an assortment of spirits, whiskey, brandy, vodka, rum. And let's check out the menu. They have a Chinese menu as well as an English menu. Let's see if it's the same as last time. Actually, it sounds really familiar because I remember having taro duck and it looks like it's very similar. So as far as our main meal, they will serve this probably about 30 minutes once we hit cruising altitude. The bread situation, if you've seen my vlog from the previous years, you know how that works. They'll give you butter, but the bread is coming, so be patient. Sometimes you're like, I have this tub of butter, I have no idea what's going on. Bread is coming, trust me. So soup, carrot ginger soup, pork rib with red dates, and dry yam soup. I think I had that one last time. Absolutely delicious. Ham chopped salmon, sea cucumber, and teriyaki chicken. And they also have a kind of a mid-flight light meal. Last time Mike was regretting the decision of going with the sandwich. I had the noodles. Okay, so this one we have beef fillet, seared cod, braised duck with taro. That's the one that I remember. And braised sea cucumber. Okay, that's happening twice. So I guess there's a dinner version and there's a light meal version, and then you also have breakfast.
All right, Jen from the future here. Sorry to interrupt. We actually had a slightly different experience on the flight back. So we'll be popping in here and there to point out what changed, just to give you a more complete picture. For example, as you can see, the menu this time was a lot more extensive. On the way there, we just had a simple pamphlet, but now it's basically a short novel. It was color-coded by travel dates, which was a little confusing at first, but honestly, not a big deal. All right, back to the present.
Now, why don't I give you a quick little tour of my little nook here. Like I said, the leg room is, my legs don't even reach there, which is like absolutely insane. They have, I think those are the comforters and duvet covers a little bit later when we're doing our turn down service. And they also have the amenity kit. I remember this pretty distinctly from last time. It looks like it's very similar. And you know me, I absolutely just love airplane slippers or whatever reason. So we're gonna take these babies off later and then put them on, very comfortable. The tray table itself is a huge tray table. I mean, you can easily fit a nice 17-inch laptop here with no problem. And let's see, what else they've got. Plenty of counter space. So last time I set at 8A, and that one is missing a window. And Mike, I think, set at 9A, and he was I think he had 1.5 windows, so he took one of mine. But today we're in 10A, so we've got all the windows today. But the flight crew is gonna have us bring the shades down anyways. And then this thing is a lovely little pop-out screen. It's huge. We'll check out the entertainment system a little bit later. I think it's probably the assortment of movies and things are going to be very similar, so you have a choice between English and Chinese, and so we'll check that a little bit later. And let's see, universal charger socket, that's always helpful. And we also have some magazines, Inflight magazines, and this thing, the armrest will rise up. It doesn't really suit my height anyway, so that probably doesn't really work. And okay, so these are your control panels. And you can kind of put your seat in the bed position, or you can have it in the right mode. Yeah, this thing, I mean, you have a remote control. You can pop it out if you need to. They've got little, like, almost like a, I don't know, one of those game machines controller. You can pick and choose. I guess it's helpful because you don't have to reach to grab the, punch it on the TV. And then we have a light. I think that's for our, I don't think that's our call button. I hope it's not. I don't want to bother anybody while the flight crew is working on their stuff here, but maybe. Oh, no, yeah, no, that's just the light. Okay, we have a little reading light. We have the headphones, which they give you. Not noise canceling by any means, it's pretty basic, but at least they give it to you. And then you also have a USB-A charging, and they give you a nice little water bottle. So that is pretty much your seat, and the headrest is adjustable, and they give you a pillow. Okay, yeah, very similar to the last time we flew China Eastern. Almost identical, actually. I think I'm just 2 seats back. So yeah, I think we're very much on time. The boarding was so efficient, but do keep in mind that you need to have your boarding pass and as well as your identification passport with you at all times, because they will check them continuously. There was I think there was like 3 checkpoints where either the ground crew or the one that's at the bridge, they will make sure that you are who you are, and then you have your identification with you. I think it's a good reminder to make sure you have your passport and your visa, I guess, but do be mindful of that.
All right, Jim from the future again. If you've ever been to a Disney event, the whole passport and boarding pass check felt a bit like the wristband system. If you know, you know. We'll keep this quick. On the way back, Mike and I were seated in the middle section. So China Eastern's 777-300 business class is in a 1-2-1 reverse herringbone layout. So we were seated next to each other this time. Even without window access, there was still plenty of counter space. And importantly, if you're not traveling together, the seats are far enough apart to feel quite private, even without a divider. On the flip side, if you do want to chat, it's actually quite a bit difficult. Otherwise, everything else is the same as the window seats, amenity kits, pillows, all that good stuff. All right, back to the present.
And yeah, similar to last time, the amenity pouch, it's super cute. I think it's waterproof, actually. It's lined with like plastic material, and yeah, the outside feels pretty luxurious. It's got a Chinese button and it's a little snap button here, but the inside of it is very, very, very basic. And you have an eye mask, you have some earplugs, a little tube of toothpaste, a comb, one of those plastic combs, and you can separate and snap apart, and then just a very basic toothbrush. So okay, so again, nothing too fancy, but I think for this is what you need, right? I actually misplaced my eye mask, so this will come in handy. Okay, that's pretty much it. And I just took my dinner order for the main meal. There is the lamb chop, salmon, and prawn, and the teriyaki chicken thigh. I went with the salmon. I think I want something a little bit lighter, so that's what we're gonna go with. The food comes in like stages. Literally, they have a lot of food here, so I'm excited. I'm still not quite that hungry. I'm surprisingly not famished whenever, as I'm used to be whenever I'm traveling, but I'm sure when I smell that delicious food, my appetite will be here. Don't you worry. And then for the light meal, I'm actually eyeing the sea cucumber and pork rib. I did have the braised duck with taro, which was fantastic the last time I had it. They also have a beef fillet. I think it's a little bit heavier. So yeah, we're ready to roll out. I think all the boarding has been completed. That was the most efficient boarding I've ever seen. So in Chinese airlines, Asian airlines in general, they do a really good job. All right, see you in the air.
到上海的飞行时间大约需要12到12分。现在飞机已经开始滑行，请您系好安全带，收起小桌板，调整椅背，打开自购买取下耳机，并确认你的手机关闭或者飞行模式。您搭乘的航班具备空中 WiFi 不换电源，同时全程禁止使用充电宝或者电池充电源或者电子设备充电，并确保充电宝电源处于关闭状态。
officially airborne. Takeoff was really smooth, and if you're sitting, my seat is kind of right over the GE engine. You can really hear the engine spool, so that was really cool. So yeah, I'm checking out the Wi-Fi situation. I overheard the flight attendant talking about the fact that the Wi-Fi will be available maybe 20 minutes after takeoff. It's pretty easy once you have your Wi-Fi turned on. Obviously, it has to be in airplane mode. You just have to choose CEAIR or CAIR-Wi-Fi. They have a little pamphlet, and then you have to go into another website to punch in your seat number as well as the last 4 digits of form of authentication that you use to book your flight. Theoretically, you should be online, so we don't know. I think Wi-Fi is complimentary for first class and business class passengers, and I think they do have like a payment plan for people sitting in economy and premium economy. So last time I flew this, I was never able to get this to work. I think Mike did make it work somehow, and it was pretty sloshy, so we'll see how fast that is. But I don't remember having this pamphlet the last time, so this is actually really, really helpful. Last time you were just like, how do I get online? I have no idea, but this time they do provide this pamphlet. So yeah, I mean, getting on board, getting seated, everything was so smooth and so efficient. But now that we're airborne, I'm gonna put on my handy dandy little airplane slippers, take off my boots, so settle in for, I think the flight attendant was saying it was 12 hours and 25 minutes. The flight attendant just came on and said that we've reached cruising altitude. I think they're starting to close down all the shades, and I think they're getting ready for our in-flight service. Yeah, you cannot use your power bank in flight during this whole entire flight, but luckily they do have a USB-A charging over here as well as a universal socket over there on the other side. So do remember that. If you have it, don't use it. Not cool. But yeah, I totally forgot that the socket over here are USB-C, not USB-A, not USB-C. So luckily I have a little charging cable for me, so I'm ready to go. I totally forgot about the pajamas. Yeah, so our flight attendant just came out and passed out pajamas for the flight. So I mean, these are for you to keep. I like them. They're pretty comfortable. So there we go. I think they only have size L, large. So these are gonna swallow me. So, but I do love them. Okay. So they just came back and served the pre-meal snacks, and we've got pouches of mixed nuts. I feel like this is a slightly scaled down from the last time I flew. Last time I think they had warm macadamia nuts. I could have been mistaken, so I have to go back to my last video to check out what was served. But I felt like it was at least in a little dish. But right now they come in pouches. And then I got my Diet Coke. I don't know. I feel like I need some caffeine, but flight attendant recommended that you put a slice of lemon in your Diet Coke. Actually, it really does refresh the drink quite a bit, so that's a good tip. And then, of course, got my whiskey, got my champagne. When you're a Disney adult, you always get 2. Just trust me on that. They just came by and they had a little tray with some sodas and waters and soft drinks, but then you can also let them know what you want in terms of your adult beverages based on what's on the menu. Oh, by the way, I was able to get online. It was pretty easy. I think about 40 minutes after airborne, they turn on the Wi-Fi on here. Speed is pretty sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. So it's barely usable, but it's usable, so I'm grateful. I'm glad that I got it to work, because I could not get it to work last time at all. There was just no internet whatsoever. So pretty simple. You punch in your seat number as well as the last 4 digits of your ID, and then it just magically comes online. And I think it essentially mirrors what your entertainment system has. You can order, there's a shopping thing on there. I haven't really checked that out, but all right, let's see what the entertainment system has to offer. Okay, so you have videos, games, and information. I actually didn't really tap into the information last time. Oh, it's just the flight map. Okay, never mind. So there really isn't too much going on as far as the information section goes. Okay, so we're gonna go back home. Let's see, what is that? Oh, home, here we go. So you have videos and you have games. Let's check out the video. You have movies and TV. If I remember last time, there's a lot of like Chinese options, but not a lot of English options. But okay, so let's see international. What do we have? We have The Wild Robot, that's been out for a while. How to Train Your Dragon, that's been out for a while as well. Elio, Despicable Me. I just watched Elio last night. I don't know, for some reason. It's actually a pretty underrated movie, in my opinion. They have the Thunderbolts, okay. Captain America, some Marvel stuff. A red one. That's definitely been a while, out for a hot minute here. Count 2, really good movie. Really enjoyed it. Okay. New hits. Let's see what new hits they have. It seems like it's not super new stuff. And they also have a kids section, comedy, a lot of Chinese content. Okay. All right. So let's go back here. TV. Again. Lots of Chinese content. I was eyeing, let's see, there was a variety show that I was kind of interested. I think it has to do with food. You know me, I'm all about the food. This one. Let's see, this is about comparison of southern and northern cuisine, I think. So I may have to give this a shot. But of course, we're stuck with these ones. That's okay. All right, how many episodes are there? Let's see. Okay, only 2 episodes. So yeah, not too many options here. So I told you I've got a bunch of YouTube content downloaded. There is the Wi-Fi situation. So, but of course we are in a Chinese airline. You are sort of behind the Great Firewall of China. So probably YouTube would not work even if you have Wi-Fi. Even if you could get it to work, I don't think the speed is going to support the streaming anyways. But okay, so that's kind of the situation. We've got some entertainment. The screen is nice and large. It's really, really nice. So, all right, I'm gonna have my little whiskey here, and then I think my meal service is gonna come soon. And let's get started. Bon appetit. Our dinner is getting served. I guess our main meal. This is lunch. I think it's San Francisco time, 1:15 right now. So it's hardly dinner, but yeah, like I said. There's an empty little plate over here for your bread. It's coming. Big old tub of butter for nothing at the moment. But I always appreciate the fact that they give you chopsticks, nice, and actual silverware. Gotta love that. Yes, it is seared beef with green asparagus with red pepper coulis, and it's a carrot. This is a carrot ginger soup. It's a nice, refreshing salad. Nothing major to write home about, but I think the beef is actually really nicely cooked. I'm slightly perplexed by this carrot soup. You kind of feel like the consistency and the integrity of the soup kind of breaking apart. So it's neither soup or is it cream. It's somewhere in between. I'm telling you, the bread comes. So have faith. Have faith that you're gonna be able to use your butter. So my entree just arrived. This salmon looks fantastic. The plate is super hot. China Eastern Airline, you have got your food dialed in. The food journey continues. Trust me, there's stuff coming. This is only the second course, the main entree, but I love it.
蛋糕、水果、冰淇淋，蛋糕、水果、冰淇淋，水果吧，水果，比较健康一点，谢谢。
And immediately after that fruit, yes, we're heading to the bathroom. Perfect transition, I know. On this flight, I had to walk to the back of the business class cabin, but the lavatory itself was actually pretty clean and fairly spacious. Inside, you'll find the basics, lotion, hand sanitizer, disposal bags, but nothing particularly premium for business class. On the way back, I checked out the lavatory at the front of the cabin, which was noticeably larger, but the amenities were pretty much the same, simple and functional. Overall, both were comfortable, just very minimal. And yes, before anybody points it out, I was wearing the same outfit on both flights. We are... what? So it's like 3:20, about 3 hours into the flight. The flight attendants are wonderful. So I wanted to try the charades. So I wanted to check out how long the flight attendants come here and to be able to kind of service you. And 3 seconds, literally 3 seconds. I pressed a button, they were here, like in no time. So service has been fantastic. So yeah.
2,000 years later.
I guess we are full-blown dinner service at this point, and I think the cabin lights are on. About 6 hours to Pudong time. My brain is a little scrambled, but I think I'm gonna go with a little bit of tea. Been drinking a little bit of adult beverage this whole entire time. I've had the Syrah, the champagne, the whiskey, but yeah, at this point, I think napping and whatever, that's out the window. I think last time I flew, I actually took a little bit of a nap, but this time I'm just, it's fine. Internet though, I will give it to you, China Eastern. Internet has been consistent. It's slow, but she's consistent. She works. She stays online. She connects. So I'm so grateful because this is very different from last time when I literally could not connect at all. So this is not just a midnight snack. This is like a full-blown meal. We've got salad. We got garlic toast. The garlic toast is this time actually followed by the butter very, very closely. And we got pate, we got what is happening? I thought it was going to be just really simple, kind of a sort of a, if you're awake, go ahead and eat food, but this is like a full-blown production. So all right, let's talk about the food. Going in, I definitely wasn't expecting a full 2-course situation, but that's exactly what I got. And honestly, everything was really good. I didn't manage to get much sleep on this flight though, and before I knew it, it was already time for breakfast. Interestingly, compared to my last flight, where breakfast was the more substantial meal, this time it was kind of flipped. Breakfast was much lighter, just a bowl of noodles, instead of the full dim sum spread I had before. Honestly, the noodles were exactly what I needed after 2 pretty filling meals earlier. The noodles were delicious. The soup was just the perfect temperature. I put a little bit of scallion on it. It was great. It got pickled. I think mustard green is what's the condiments, and a little bit of that pork, ground pork over the noodles. The texture is wonderful. So it worked out really well. I think we've almost passed Japan airspace, so we're probably gonna breeze past South Korea and then into China airspace at this point. But yeah, if my memory serves me correctly, I think they start their descent procedure quite a bit earlier than North American Airlines. So I think probably about 40 minutes out, they're gonna start to, at least based on the last time I flew China Eastern, they start to close out lavatories and things about 40 minutes. So you know what? I'm not going to chance it. I'm just going to do my thing, get everything all packed up and get everything ready. And so we can just relax. We still have about an hour and 30 minutes to go. I have the little world map popped on my screen. So literally an hour and 37 to go before landing in Shanghai Pudong. Let me know in the comments below if you remember the days where you have to physically fill out the entry card by hand. You have to write it out and all that good stuff. Nowadays, it's all online. And so make sure you do that. I'll pop in the link in the description down below, where you're fill it out, that you can get prepared ahead of time. And it's a very, very simple process. Your name, your contact information, your passport number, your visa number, and all that good stuff. So it's, obviously for visitors, it would require a visa, and so they'll have that. They'll just collect some information. They're going to generate a QR code. They can either email it to you, or you can download it as a picture on your phone, all that good stuff. So make sure you do that before you get on the flight. So even in the counter agent, ground staff, as I was getting my boarding pass, they were like, hey, do you need the QR code? And I said, I've got that all taken care of. I think I don't remember if I talked about that at the beginning of the journey.
2 hours later.
So we made it to the Shanghai China Eastern VIP lounge. The offboarding was super easy. Obviously, we were towards the front of the plane, so we got to get off the plane first, and I didn't have any check-in luggage or anything like that, so just purely carry-on, super easy. But the only thing is this year, like I said, the QR code for the entry card was so much better than before. Before, we had to fill it out physically and hand in the card, and this time you just do it ahead of time, present the QR code. You can even print it out or have it on your phone or whatever, and it was just easy peasy. So that was really good. But the thing you have to keep in mind is, I don't think did I tell you about this new, recently changed rule? I think it's back in 2025. Is if you have a power bank, if you're boarding a domestic Chinese airline flight, you have to have this. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's this 3C symbol that they absolutely looking for. And so while I was doing the transfer, a domestic transfer from international to domestic flight, that leg, they literally have to have you take out your power bank, and then they check it. They make sure that there's that 3C symbol. So just the FC is not going to cut it, or the CE is not going to cut it. You have to have this 3C symbol in a circle. So Mike and I made sure, and we actually read this rule. Ironically, I was like, I think I heard something about the power bank situation changing in China. So make sure you do that. If you have a domestic transfer, make sure you have a certified power bank you can use to transfer and they're eligible for domestic flight. Otherwise, they're going to confiscate it. So I'm just hanging out at the lounge. My next leg of the flight is 3-4 hours away. It's literally the same exact flight that I took last time when we went to China. So the lounge, it's super nice. They have some really good food. I'm telling you, the Chinese lounges are great. They have noodle bar, they have things, freshly made food, and it's super clean, and it's a little bit on the louder side. So, if you have no voice canceling headphones, not a problem at all. All right, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Hopefully you found this vlog to be at least entertaining and somewhat valuable, and maybe you found some information to be, something useful. But if you haven't done it before, please make sure you subscribe to my channel to help grow our community together. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in our next vlog.